you may have heard on Monday, well, actually, you won't have heard on Monday and Tuesday in the mainstream news media that the government's made some decisions about prison musters and building prisons and putting some resources into prisons, because it would be fair to say this government's going to be a little bit tougher in terms of sentencing than previous administrations who have tended to favour the wet bus ticket over the back of the wrist approach. But you will not have heard much about the details of the government's policies because the announcement was made with the Prime Minister and Mark Mitchell at the Monday morning post-cabinet media conference, which basically is a chance for a whole lot of bent journalists to try and catch the coalition government, which they hate, to try and catch them out. And all the stories that come out of that press conference, apart from when we're there, are all about how Luxon's stuffed up and there should be a new government and all the journalists should get money. And I've got to say, this Monday's press conference, which we didn't get to because we were busy doing other stuff, was no exception. And for 2 days afterwards, it was all basically how Luxon was the worst press conference ever, and Mark Mitchell was useless, and I didn't really manage from all that to extract the information about what was being announced. So I thought it'd probably be good to get Mark Mitchell, the Minister of Police, in and clear all that up and get the story. And we're doing that right now. Minister, good morning to you.
Hey, good morning, Sean.
All right. Look, I just want to check before we go any further. Have you recovered? And I'm talking to you as someone who has served, I think, in active conflict zones with guns around. Have you recovered from going over the top at the Beehive on Monday?
Yes. Yeah, I have. Look, obviously, I completely muddied the waters. I got stuck on near-term capacity, and the announcement was around mid to long term, and confused everyone. And I apologise to the Prime Minister. But as my daughter said the next day, you know what, Dad, you always taught us to get up off the ground, shake the dust off, and keep going. And that's what we're doing. All
right, so you'll accept it wasn't your finest hour media performance-wise.
No.
But Mark, Can I ask you, did you find it a hostile environment?
I think that look, as you sort of highlighted, the media have got a job to do, and that is to probe. So, but there's. So, look, I'm not going to comment too much on that. Look,
well, why not? Because you don't want to say what you really think?
No, because I think, look, I've always said it, and I leave the public to make up their own minds on things. And the public have got an ability to be able to sift through stuff and sort things out.
All right. So what are you doing with prisons? What's this government doing with prisons? What did you want to say on Monday?
Well, basically increase the capacity. We have been very clear. We've got a big public safety program. We've got substantive legislation in front of Parliament at the moment, and a big part of our announcement was the additional $1.9 billion of investment that's going into corrections, and that is to make sure that we build capacity, make sure that we've got more corrections officers, and also putting a lot of money into rehabilitation programs, especially for those prisoners on remand who up until now haven't had access to programs.
Yeah. It would be fair to say, though, this is an admission that part of getting tough on crime, and I use that broad term, is you're going to lock more people up for longer.
Yeah, well, without a doubt. I mean, we've been very clear that the sentences haven't matched the consequences, and that we're putting public safety at the heart of things, and that means that Kiwis that want to hurt people are going to end up in jail under this government.
This may take some time to turn round, though, Minister, and we've seen this week a tragic case. A drive-by shooting in Ponsonby. Yep. The alleged shooter took his own life. Gang involvement, of course, though the guy wasn't wearing a patch. And I'll be honest, I think many, many Kiwis look at that and almost at the point where they're not batting an eyelid now. It's so common.
And that's always been my fear, is that we start to become desensitised to it, because I just don't accept that. I think that I've always said that, we've got a lot of things in our favour. We're a small island nation. We've got one national police force. We don't have a federal or state system. We know who these criminals are. We've got to target them and go after them. We know that the gangs have grown significantly over the last 6 years and are out there now carrying firearms and willing to use them. And that's why we've got substantive gang legislation in front of the House at the moment. We sort of took that from Western Australia. I was in Canberra on Friday speaking to their minister and their commissioner, and they said the gang legislation has been extremely effective in suppressing gang on top of the gangs. In fact, their main paper had a headline running that day saying that the leader of the rebels in Western Australia was leaving the gang because life had just become too tough.
All right. Where are you at with the police pay negotiations? Where's that at the moment?
That's gone to final offer arbitration, so that now is in front of an arbiter where the association will put their final offer forward and New Zealand Police will put theirs forward and a decision will be taken.
All right. Look, just back to the prison muster then. How many new prison beds are you planning to build?
So there will be, we are funding an additional 810 prison beds on top of the 600 that will be delivered next year, come online middle of next year at Waiteria. That is where the investment is centred. However, there were beds that were disestablished through the network under Labor, which we are bringing back online again.
All right. Now, the questions that I know, and I ask in not in an idle way, not specifically because you've said anything, double bunking and how packed in a prison is going to be. Are you going to look at that and change that too?
If we can provide a single cell for a prisoner, then that's what we'll do. And if we can't, then we'll double bunk. And, that's just because at the end of the day, like I've said, public safety is going to come first in this country now.
Yeah.